Well, love is a fun message to talk about. It is absolutely lovely to speak on. I love the feel-good stories about love. I don't know how many of you have ever watched Chicago. It is by far my favorite musical of all time. In the middle of the musical, we have Billy Flynn rolling around with women like decorating him on each side of his body, and all he wants to talk about, all he really cares about, is love. Love seems to be a topic that our community has quantified into romantic. Not this community, our greater community. We think about love all the time. Not too terribly long ago, we celebrated Valentine's Day, which is a whole holiday spent with red hearts filled with my love, chocolate. It's really easy to get into that kind of love. It's really one thing to think about the amount of time we spend desiring, hopeful for, embracing that energetic little hit of dopamine that we get when we think about love. Today's message is a post-Easter message, which is kind of confusing. So let me explain to you why today we are talking about the Last Supper, even though we are in Eastertide, which is after Christ died and resurrected. It's a little confusing. But as it were, every 3 years, we go through the entire gospel and the entire Bible through a little thing we like to call the lectionary. And somewhere a long time ago, some men in funky little dresses got together and decided that we would review the Bible every 3 years. One of those seasons would be Advent. And Advent is about preparing for the light of the world to come back in. Convenient that it's celebrated near the solstice, which at the time was who we were trying to evangelize. Easter, also not necessarily a uniquely Christian holiday, God's time to celebrate resurrection. But then afterwards, we have what's known as Eastertide. So we are happily in that space of Eastertide right now. And we are reflecting theologically, especially in the Gospel of John, about who Jesus was. Now, John makes a claim that Jesus knew this was all going to happen, because at this time, 160 years after Christ, we thought, oh, we get it. This was the Messiah. So of course he knew, because he was divine. We have that claim in the Gospel of John. But here we're at the Last Supper. Today's message, we're at the Last Supper. And if we can just follow along with the Gospel of John, we're hearing Jesus, once again, knowing that he was going to be betrayed. Knowing that Judas had left the building. Knowing that Peter was going to deny him 3 times. Knowing that after he died, things were going to get a little rough for a while for the disciples. Who wants to be known with the rabble-rouser? Enter his message of love. That's how you will know. They will know you are my disciples. By loving. Now, I have a really hard time because of what I do. I do a lot of work with people who have religious trauma. People who have been told over and over again that they are not lovable. Christ could not love them because they don't think the right way. They don't do all of the things that tradition tells us to do. Providing a message like Jesus is, in the face of death, love anyways, compared against the backdrop of that romantic love, sets up a uniquely abusive situation. We have to be careful when we talk about love. It is hard to sometimes find that dopamine hit or oxytocin hit or whatever brain chemical you have that gets touched whenever you experience love and talk about the pain in the world. The last couple of weeks have been difficult. Really hard. I don't know anybody that hasn't been affected. Supreme Court leaks, gun violence, racism, anti-women, misogyny rhetoric. It's been hard the last couple of weeks. And I don't know about you, but I have no warm and fuzzies towards folks who are in the abusive role of telling us it's all going to be okay. Forget your rights. Forget your well-being. This gun thing isn't a big deal. This mentality isn't great. I have no warm fuzzies left to give. It can be hard for us, Admiral Congregational United Church of Christ. I'm going to say that again into the microphone. It can be hard for us, Admiral United Church of Christ, to hang on to our loving spirit. You all are a bunch of nice people. I'm going to say it again, and I'm going to let you laugh and feel that wash over you for a minute. You all are nice. You're welcoming, you're loving. It's hard for nice people to hear hard messages that they don't matter and that abuse is okay. And we seem to be living in a lot of those these days. It can make this love that Jesus talks about really hard to swallow. How am I supposed to love that? Jesus knew he was going to die. Jesus knew that he was going to get abused. Jesus knew that he was going to be betrayed. And to love anyways, it doesn't quite make sense. It's harder to swallow that messaging. So of course we have to grapple with it. What else do we know about love? Well, anybody who has ever loved anyone more than a hot minute knows that love doesn't necessarily mean sunshine and rainbows all the time. Love means struggle. Love means committed. Love means sometimes going out of your way to check in with self, to think about what's going on in the dynamic. And hopes. But also love is about speaking truth with love, which is hard for some of us to hear and swallow. As a chaplain and as a therapist, I have to say an uncomfortable amount of things to people where I see truth and they may not see it. It's a difficult process. And I have to trust that they know that they are loved in the space that I offer. To offer that same sort of vulnerability, not vulnerability, trust and love. Speaking the truth with love doesn't mean you go around being an honest jerk all the time. Speaking the truth with love means that you see something that you deeply care about and you speak of it. Sometimes, for me, I get choked up, believe it or not. Sometimes that means when we're talking to our friends and family versus correcting them about hey, don't do that. We say, I'm not willing to hear this right now. This is not okay. Speaking the truth with love sometimes means telling a loved one, I'm not going to stand for your racism or homophobia. Sometimes that is the most loving thing. Pulling them into the gospel message of standing in for the poor and marginalized and standing up for the poor and marginalized isn't an easy task. That was Jesus' entire message. I want to be there for the poor and marginalized. Not everybody gets it. Loving people is a hard task. And as you go out today, it's not going to feel good all the time to love. Sometimes we have to let go of our things that we treasure. And that can be hard. I love my pickup truck. It might be the most butch thing about me. However, I love this planet too. There comes a day that I will have to figure out how to be truthful with myself, that it's not sustainable. It's about that kind of love. Checking in with ourselves to make sure that in big ways and small ways we're being authentic to the message of Jesus Christ. So, that was all heavy. Let's get to the good news. We live as post-Easter Christians. While it's wonderful to sit there and think about what it was like for Jesus' disciples and Jesus at the Last Supper, knowing that they probably were really confused about their message of love, we know that the good news is while love is risky, it is not undoable. We have this community. You have to probably practice love inside this community. You probably have to practice love at home. You may even have to practice love with your neighbor. And sometimes we have to practice love by voting. Sometimes we have to practice love by showing up with things like the gun. What was it called? Gun Awareness Day. We have love in us. That is good news. Not even death can stop us or stop this love. Thanks be and glory to God. Amen. As you go out of this space today, I want you to think about one thing. One thing. What does love mean to you?